Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the stream. Yo yo. Hello, everyone. I am actually, yeah, for the first time, I'm actually 1 minute late. I had a light that wasn't on, and so I was like super dark over here. So I had to run and get it, and I was just like, no, I'm gonna be 1 minute late to the stream. So devastated, devastated, devastated. All right, so we're gonna wait for a few more people to hop on, and then we're gonna get this party started. So. Yep. I was not. I've never been late, Mahira. Never been late. Maybe by your time, but on mine, I'm good. I'm always on time. Maybe I don't start at exactly 8 minutes and 0 seconds, but I start at 8 o'clock or 8 o'clock and 0 seconds. But I definitely start at 8 o'clock. Your word against mine, Mahira. Your word against mine, and we all know how that's gonna go. So, okay, cool. So today is review time. So I didn't. Today was kind of rushed, so I didn't get a chance to really talk to you guys about what that looks like. But I mentioned it a while back. Basically, all that happens is you guys ask questions and I answer them. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and try to go through all of the content because we just don't have time to. I will, however, kind of later on, probably at like 8:30, 8:45ish, I'll go over the old stuff or the stuff that I was supposed to be able to cover today and I didn't get a chance to. But I'm going to wait until a little bit later. I might not even wait till 8:30, but I'm going to wait a little bit later just so we have the full group of people um, on the stream. Um, so yeah. So at this point, guys, it's on you. Whatever questions you have is what I will talk about. But otherwise, I'm chilling. I'm waiting on y'all. So okay. All right. Well, wow. Already 3 dyslexia. Y'all are a bunch of jerks. That's true, Ion. I did call you out in class. No. I don't think I'm emotionally ready to have more dislikes than likes in my on my stream. See, you guys are laughing, but later on, some other one of my principals or whatever is going to come onto the stream and be like, "Wait a minute, why do you have more dislikes than likes?" So, and then I'm going to get fired, and then I'm going to blame it on you, Ion. That's who I'm coming after. Definitely Ion in fourth period. So, yeah, all the stuff that we didn't cover is susceptible to being on the test. So, but like I said, I'll cover that specifically later when probably like 8:30 or something. So. Um, yeah, I'm here. I'll go over the new content. So I'm here. What do you guys want? Teddy's here too. Come here, Teddy. Come on. Good boy. Here's Teddy. He's here. He is super. Oh nope, there he goes. He wants to do other things, I think, or he's uninterested in you guys. No, why would Dasal go? Shush, Dasal. Don't ask silly questions. No, it is not. Learning and cognition is all we're talking about. Yes. All right. Questions, guys? While I wait for you, I'm going to eat my pizza because I haven't eaten yet today. I'll turn off my sound so you don't have to hear me chewing. Teddy. Pepperoni and jalapeno is the best kind of, is the best. I don't know. I like it. All right. Hey, we need questions, guys. I have other things to do with my life than sit here and hang out with you guys. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, pineapples is literally the worst thing ever. So I'm not doing that. How about I turn my mic on when I'm talking? I wouldn't be able to get that worksheet back in time. It takes me at least a day to grade. So if you want to ask questions about it, I can answer them. But I like there's just no way I can like get those like have you turn it in and then grade them in time for it to be of any use. So if you want to ask them, go ahead. Um, Sorry, I just fell behind a little bit. Variable interval and variable ratio are basically the same when we're talking to solve when you're talking about acquisition and extinction. They're basically the same. So you're good. Um, okay, woo. For a one-time thing like the car accident, will the unconditioned stimulus and conditioned stimulus be the same? It's not. Sometimes it'll be the same, but not always. And sometimes it will be similar, but sometimes it won't. It's dependent on time. Like you'll see it in the question. It'll tell you like whether or not um, the reaction is different. The first time they got into a car wreck, they're terrified, and then later they're just scared. They're just worried or concerned. So it'll let you know if it's different. So it'll be in the wording. I promise. You'll see it. No, Ion, we're not getting an answer key for the problems because I'm still grading it. Okay, Lori, good question. I'm sorry for eating in front of you, but I literally got home at like 7:30, so I just got my food together. So I do apologize for eating, but I haven't eaten since lunch, so I'm hungry. You guys could just deal with it. So okay, so Lori's asking how are law of effect, behavior modification, and operant conditioning all interconnected? So let's let's just talk about law of effect. Remember, law of effect, Edward Thorndike, um, he was really the first person to um, deal with like behavioral psychology and try to implement what's going on in the world, how are people learning these things. It's all based on consequences. And so BF Skinner is going to take those ideas and he's going to piggyback on that law of effect, on that learning based on consequences, and he's kind of come together with operant conditioning. So law of effect, operant conditioning are basically the same. And so yeah, so that's like, so just recognize that operant conditioning is BF Skinner, and it came after Edward Thorndike's law of effect. After that, when you're talking about what was the question? Behavior modification. When you are attempting to change or alter someone's behavior, especially if it's something negative, very often we will use operant conditioning techniques in order to help fix those problems. So, Lori, I think that answers your question about how they're all interconnected. If you still have questions on that, go ahead and post them below. But I think that covers what you're asking. Okay, Daniel, do we need to know about learned helplessness? Yes, yes, you need to know learned helplessness. There's definitely a possibility that there's a question on the test. So yes. Misbah, behavior modification seek six. Oh, Misbah, are you answering questions for me? Or inhibit abnormal or maladaptive behavior by reinforcing desired behavior and extinguishing. Whoa, yeah, yes, Misbah, excellent. But you can break down that you can break that. There's a ton of bulky words in there. Um, Maladaptive behavior. We'll learn about maladaptive behavior later, but basically, a maladaptive behavior is when a person does something that at the moment makes them feel better, but overall it's like a really bad idea. Like smoking. Smoking helps the person feel better at the time. Like maybe they're dealing with anxiety or something like that. And so in order to do it, they smoke. But overall and in the long run, it's really bad for you. It's not gonna work out. So yeah. So thank you, Misbah. Zohair. Okay, thank you, Zohair. I don't understand anything that you just said, but that's fine. Oh, thank you, Sam. Say hello to your mother again. Okay. Well, I got to the end of the questions. Okay, cool. I guess I answered them. I was expecting to. Um, Alyssa, you just sent me an email. Alyssa, make sure that you have a Gmail account. If you have a Gmail account, you should be able to put it up. Is there like a specific button that you have to press? Um, if you go to the top right hand side, there should be like a little bar for live chat, and it should be able to. It should say pop out chat if you're having trouble. Okay, real quick. I'm sorry, Teddy's wanting to go outside. There you go, Teddy. Sorry about that. Think. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, hopefully that helps you, Alyssa. If that did not help you, you can send me another email and I don't know what to do. Okay, can you give an example of learned helplessness and latent learning? Sure, Daniel. Okay, so man, I'm not eating anything. I need to put something on the screen so I can. Indeed, snappy chat. Okay, learned helplessness and latent learning. Okay, so learned helplessness. I'll just kind of go through. I'll just walk through learned helplessness. Let me see if I'm sorry. I haven't even had a chance to check if this works yet. Let's see if I can share this and it'll change on my screen. Whoa. Does this work? Is this? No, of course not. It's still not working. This is driving me up the wall. Up the wall. Oh, did that work? Okay, that worked. Okay, so cool. Okay, so I don't remember what class. There was a class that I kind of talked about this in, and I know I didn't talk to everyone about it. So here we go. So as it says on the screen, it says a mental state in which an organism forced to endure aversive stimuli. So something bad, aversive. Remember, or something like unpleasant or whatever. Oh, come back. Okay. Let me. Yeah, it's hard for you to see. I got you. I got you. I got you. Close. Okay, how's that? Is that better? Yeah. So so aversive conditioning. Remember, aversive conditioning is when you are trying to get someone to stop doing something by doing some pretty negative stuff. Just think of the John Watson example. John Watson was aversive conditioning. So, hey, real quick, does everyone on the stream have a YouTube channel? Real quick, can you guys answer that question for me? Because it's supposedly Alyssa's having trouble getting chatting on the stream, and it's saying that you're supposed to have a YouTube channel. Do you guys not have a YouTube channel? Can you guys in the comments? Can you guys tell me about that real quick? Okay. It seems that you do. Alyssa, you need to have a YouTube channel, but yeah, but you just log in with your email. You can make it, but you don't have to like, yeah, you just have to have a Gmail account. You just log in and it'll get it done for you. It'll be easy. Thank you guys. Perfect. So, oh my gosh, I just realized we have 51 people watching. That's crazy. I've never had this much. I'm so glad. Thank you for getting on, guys. This is so exciting for me. Oh, we just dropped down to 50. Okay. But thank you for getting on. Okay. I have to be useful here. Okay. Um, so going back to learned helplessness, why is this looking so terrible? Anyways, so when we're looking at learned helplessness, basically you just get a person that's in a really crappy situation, and if they're in it for long enough, generally what happens is they feel like they're helpless, like they can't get out of the situation, or they feel like they are worthless, or something really bad. And so what ends up happening is they give up, and when they get into similar situations, they just kind of throw in the towel. And so that's what this picture of the horse is. Like, normally a horse is like tied down to a wooden pole or something that is very sturdy. And so throughout this horse's life, like, it has been held down by, like, legitimately held down. And so when it gets into a similar situation where it's tied to a plastic chair, well, it just gives up. So so yeah. So that's learned helplessness. Cool. Okay. I can give an example of latent learning. So let's move down on the slide and see if it wants to do it on my YouTube thing. Is it doing it? Of course not. That would make oh, there it is. Okay. Cool. So latent learning, recognize that this is put together by a gentleman named Edward Tolman. Okay. And so he's the psychologist that was doing all of these studies. So what he did is he had these mice, and he put these mice through a maze. And what he found was that the mice would learn to do the maze, and he had two groups of them. One did the maze and did not get any food at the end of the maze. And the other group did the maze, and at the end, they got food. And so what ended up happening was the mice that weren't given any food learned the maze. They learned how to get through it or whatever. But they had no reason to actually do it. They were literally just like put in this maze thing, and because they were bored and there's nothing to do but like walk around. They're not like prodded along or anything like that. They solved the maze because there was nothing better to do. They just kind of like meandered through. And so what ended up happening is they actually learned the maze better than the ones that had a reason to do it, the ones that got like the cheese or whatever. And so later on, once both mice had learned the maze, Edward Tolman rewarded both of them, even the group that didn't get the cheese at first, or the food at first. And the ones that had not been given a reward solved it faster than the group that had always been given a reward. And what Edward Tolman was saying is that there was learning about what that maze was or how to get through the maze. There was definitely learning going on, but until it was given a reason for it, it wasn't shown. And so that's what latent learning is all about, is this idea that there's a lot of learning that you guys do that isn't shown until like you have a reason for it. So an example might be like, all of the different parts of your car. Think about those of you who drive. Think about like all the different, like, where's the button to turn on the radio? Where is the blinkers? Where is this? Where is that? And all of these things, but you have no, like, let's say that tomorrow I went out and I tested you on that stuff. That's latent learning. Like, you don't have a reason to know it, you just do. And when you're tested on it, like, you'd be blindfolded and you would do all those things, you'd know where it was. So that's latent learning. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. Yeah, so latent learning, Edward Tolman, name you need to know. Okay. Reactions to phobia, like checking for spiders, is a maladaptive behavior. Yes, it's all. But like I said, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about that just now. Okay, so we'll stop that. Okay, cool. All right, we're doing good. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I've got some more things to check. Okay. Yeah. On the aversive conditioning, I think I did that, right? I think I did that earlier. I think I explained that earlier. Okay. So, where am I? Okay. Are behavior modification and maladaptive behavior the same? FISA, no. No. Behavior modification is like the healthy version. Maladaptive behavior is like the unhealthy version. So I mean, you could say technically that they're they're similar, but behavior modification is like you trying to like fix issues, and then maladaptive behavior is like the wrong stuff. So like, I'm super anxious and I have a lot of anxiety, so I bite my nails. That's a maladaptive behavior, because the biting of the nails kind of calms you down or whatever. But overall, it's really not fixing your anxiety. Or maybe you eat too much. Maybe you have like you're full of fear or whatever, or sad, and eating makes you feel better. Is that really dealing with your with the problems that you have, the deep depression or whatever? No, it's just kind of putting a band-aid on it. So, okay. Aversive conditioning can fall under either. Bobby Wasabi, you're driving me crazy. I don't know who you are. I know you told me who you are, but I don't remember. But yeah, do you have a picture? I can't see. Aversive conditioning could fall under either. It could be both. So, the 3 coping strategies. Yes, I can, Rhea. I can go over the 3 coping strategies. Oh, are you talking about minimize? Are you talking about? Am I blanking? Am I blanking on something? Type in those 3 coping strategies at the bottom, and I'll come back to it. I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about. So, I think you need to make. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry, I am catching up on questions. I don't know who Rauf is. I'm guessing he doesn't go to this school. So I'm just gonna kick him. Can I just kick Rauf, or whoever this kid is? Lily. I'm gonna kick him here in a second. Okay. Your lecture notes over the PowerPoint. Wait, how? I mean, you don't have access to PowerPoint. Really matter. You can do either thing. I mean, lecture, like, so if you look at these lecture slides and you look at the notes, so if you look at like, okay, so I have to show you, sorry. Yeah, so you can see on here things that are in themselves rewarding, things we have learned. Like, basically, I just take the lecture notes, just copy and paste it onto the document that I post. So, yep. Yeah, we do. What? Yep. You have the classical conditioning and operant conditioning worksheet. You really need an example? I mean, I can go back to it, but and I mean, you've got like that's what your worksheet's for. Do you want to, if you want to give me like a specific, and I'm give me a specific number on your worksheet, and we'll go over that. How's that? Because I don't mind going over it, but I need like some. I want to like look at a question that you actually have or whatever. Yeah, sure. Superstitious learning, sure. Okay. Um, so let's go to the slide. Okay, so this is like there's a lot of like text up here, but all this is really what it is. So superstitious behavior arises when the delivery of a reinforcer or a punisher occurs close together in time. You don't need to know what that is, with an independent behavior. So like when you are talking, so like this happens so much in sports, and so let's say that you are a uh, I don't even want to an Astros fan. Houston Astros baseball team. For those of you who don't know, local Houston Astros. Okay, so let's say you're an Astros fan. Okay, and you bought a new Astros T-shirt, and you're like super hyped and excited about it. So you've been watching the Astros for a long time, and so you buy a T-shirt, and that the purchasing of the t-shirt, and so for the first game the first game you watch of the Astros with this new, like, since you bought this t-shirt, you're wearing the t-shirt, you're super excited, you go to the game, you're like all jazzed up, and then the Astros get like their butts kicked. So what ends up happening is that is the independent behavior is you wearing that shirt. And so what ends up happening is that kind of puts a nugget in your head of like, wait a minute, like if I wear this shirt, the Astros lose, like, oh my gosh, like, and so what ends up happening is you wearing that shirt has been punished by the Astros getting their butt kicks. And maybe you're not super superstitious, so you're like, okay, well, I'll go to another game. So you go to another game like a few weeks later, you're wearing the same shirt, and they get their butts kicked again. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like this wearing this t-shirt is making the Astros lose. So I can't wear the t-shirt again. And so that's superstitious beliefs. It's basically you just have this random thing that happens, and then something bad or something really good happens, and we tie together whatever that good or bad thing is with that random behavior. So think of it like classical conditioning, in a sense, where you have like like the independent behavior kind of being a neutral stimulus, and or actually it's probably better you think of it as operant conditioning. Like it's just like this thing that you do is, and it has what you would consider like a consequence, like, and so you don't do it or you do it again. Um so yeah, so, and it's got an example here for you. You walk under a ladder and a minute later you trip and fall. It is easy to attribute your accident to bad luck and the irrelevant ladder. Yeah, so okay, I think that summarizes it pretty good. If you still have a question about it, let me know. But that's superstitious learning. Whoa. Okay. I'll come back to those questions here in a second. I need to get to I need to get to the worksheet here in a minute. Yeah, and I can go over the branches of scheduling. So, um, okay. Okay. So once again, we're looking at reinforcement, and we're deciding when and or how often we are going to reinforce someone's behavior. Okay, so you can do it continuously. We talked about what continuous was, is basically you're doing it every time. Acquisition happens very quickly, but extinction it's also prone to extinction. Or you can do it, not all of the time, which is partial. Okay, so this makes it so that acquisition comes slowly, but it is more resistant to extinction. Okay, so 4 types of partial partial reinforcement. So first you have ratio schedules. So provides a reinforcement after a set number of responses. This is a fixed ratio schedule. So a fixed ratio schedule provides us reinforcement after a set number of responses. I am uh, um, let's see. I am playing basketball, learning how to play basketball. And so every time I'm shooting free throws, or I'm just shooting baskets. Every time I make 5 baskets, I give myself a high five because I'm super lame. I give myself a high five. Good job, I made 5 baskets, and that makes me feel better. That is a reward for me shooting those baskets. And then the variable ratio provides a reinforcement after a random number of responses. And once again, we talked about how that was a good example of that was the lottery. And that's kind of your big example of it. Okay. Next, we have interval schedules. And interval schedules is talking about time. So for a fixed interval schedule requires a set amount of time to elapse before the reinforcement is given. So you are looking at a person who is in 4th period. We use running. So they're out running, running, and so they're like, all right, if I run for an hour, I get to take a break and walk, and then I'll run for another hour, and I get to take a break and walk. And so they're rewarding themselves after a certain amount of time of doing that behavior, which is running. So then variable interval is just doing it at a random amount of time. And so we use that same example of checking your phone to see if you've been messaged or, snappy chat or whatever. So there you go. Variable and interval. Those are the schedules. So, excuse me. Okay. No, maladaptive. We are not going to get to maladaptive behavior or maladaptive learning until way later. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jesse, I'm so sorry. That was a question from way long ago. Yeah, they do. They learn it better. So, yep. I'm sorry. I can't see all of the questions on this chat. I can only do what's in front of me. Bobby Wasabi, you're Shane. Yeah, see how far behind I am? Okay. Yes, I can, Maggie. Maggie, that's a bunch of stuff. Like, can you ask me like a specific question? I'm not just gonna like go through all of those things. If you have a question about one of them, I'll answer it. But that's part like it's already 8:30. So I'm not just gonna like roll through all that stuff. So okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So okay. So Rio, I'm coming back to you. Okay. So appraisal, problem, emotional, and occupation focused. Okay. So I mean, okay, let's just start one at a time. Okay. So appraisal focused strategies, like appraisal is this idea that when you are looking at the world, you're kind of judging it, and not like a negative judging, but you're kind of like summarizing or recognizing its value. And so when you look at a person, sometimes we kind of like look at them and like, what is their value? Like, how much value are they to me? Like, are they worth the time and effort? And so appraisal value is sometimes we get caught up like thinking that certain things are super important, and they're definitely not. Like certain people's opinions of you definitely don't matter, and you need to just not care so much. And so a coping strategy is recognizing, is going back and really appraising like people's opinions about you, or what you think is most important. How many times have you been super super stressed out by something, and then you kind of took a step back and you're like, wait a minute, this crap does not matter at all. And so you kind of like back up and it's just like, okay, like whatever, I don't need to deal with this crap anymore. So that's the appraisal part. um, Problem focused, basically, um, like it's problem solving, but it's finding like like evaluating and finding like the pros and cons of tackling issues. Like, is this problem worth wrestling with? Like, is this something that I have the um like is this causing me too much stress? If this problem is causing me too much stress, I need to reevaluate whether it's important or not. So that's problem focused. Um, Emotion focused is, once again, reevaluating and trying to manage your emotions, the way that you um, react to things that are going on. So some people, like when something bad happens, like they really like cannot handle it. Like things really go sour. And emotional coping is just like, hey, like you need to learn strategies to become better at like dealing with your emotions um and stuff like that. So that would be the emotional part. And then occupation focus is, once it's kind of like appraisal. It's like looking at your job and like, what is the value of your occupation, like, how, how difficult is it, um and like how much value is it bringing to your life. So hope that answers your question, Ria. Okay. Stephen, for the test, do we have to know each psychologist did and what they found through their experiments? Yes, you need to make sure that you know all the psychologists. They are, because I don't. There might be like one question that's like, what did this guy do? But oftentimes you'll just see their names pop up as part of a question. And so if you know their names and you know what they did, it will help you like work through like, okay, wait a minute, what was this like? What is this question really asking, or what is this? What's like the driving point going on here? So it's good to have that information together. Okay. Um, okay. I'm gonna come back to that. You guys have a bunch of like, hey, can you go over this question on the worksheet? I promise I'll come back to those. I'm going to answer some other questions before I come back to that. So I need to do 4, 1, 11, 3, 9. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Um, Mispa coming in when I'm talking about the Astros. Okay. Would you give yourself a high five? Yeah, I would give myself a high five. That's my lot in life. Okay, Mahira. So interval ratio, fixed ratio, and variable ratio are all part of partial. Yes, yes, it is. Okay, Midhut, how are you? On the worksheet in the directions, it doesn't say to identify. Yeah, I'm so sorry. The NS and the CS are always the same thing, and I forgot to put it in there. It's not a big deal. I'm not gonna like. Yes, you need to know it. Whatever. Uh, okay. So in ratio and interval schedule, I don't understand what's the difference between fixed and variable. Do they not mean the same? No, 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 no. Faiza, don't like fixed. Set amount. You like it's the same. Variable is random. It's all over the place. So if I am um like if I am trying to run a marathon and I am training to run. And so I'm like, okay, this week I need to run at least 5 miles a day. And so that would be and after 5 miles, I get to, after I do my 5 miles, I get to, go get ice cream or something. And so that's a set amount. Every time I hit 5 miles, run 5 miles, I get some sort of treat. And so that's specifically a fixed ratio schedule. But a variable ratio schedule will be, it's just all over the place. So the first time I run 1 mile and I'm, like, I could use a treat right now, and I give myself a treat. And then I run 13 miles and then I give myself a treat. And then I run another 37 miles and I get a treat. And it's just random. It's like, it doesn't happen. Um, uh, yeah. So does that make sense? So did we do this emotional coping stuff in school? No, that was part of, you guys did like a reading type thing. It was behavioral modification on a Friday or whatever. So you guys looked at that. Yep, good. Fixed reinforcement. The test is all multiple choice. Yes, 50 questions, multiple choice. I don't know if I told you that I said it's it's 50 questions, multiple choice. I'm sorry. Ooh. It'll always be 50 questions, multiple choice. For the smoking example, I couldn't comment at the time. Alyssa, I don't remember my smoking example. I don't remember what I was talking about. That was a while ago, so sorry. Can you give an example on generalization versus discrimination? Yeah. Good question, Oyen. So generalization is when two things are very similar, and so you still get a reaction from it. Um, you still recognize it as like the conditioned stimulus. So we're talking about classical conditioning here. So Teddy has been trained to sit, and so one of the things that could happen is if I mispronounce sit. So I said, Teddy, come, and he runs over here, and then I'm like, Teddy, eat, or something stupid like that. He might still be like, oh, okay, and he might sit down because it's close enough to the word sit that he still thinks that that's the command that I'm giving him because he's an idiot, but in a nice way. And then discrimination is when that new neutral stimulus is too far away. So I told Teddy, come over here, and then I'm like, Teddy, go get me hot chocolate, but I really wanted him to sit down. Well, he's not going to sit down because that's totally different from what I wanted him to do. So, so it can be classical, it can be operant conditioning, it can be both those things. So, yep. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay. No, I haven't done Shane. I haven't done all of the. I did the superstitious beliefs. I did. What have I gone through? I did latent learn. I've done latent learning. I've done superstitious beliefs. I've done learned helplessness. I need to do insight learning and observational learning, and I will do that here once I finish answering these questions. We do need to know the memory stuff. Yes. It's random, but do they mean two different things when we talk about them? No, it's the same. It's the same. Think of it like positive and negative reinforcement and punishment. Both positive and negative is basically the same thing. It's adding something on or taking something away. Yeah, everything we've talked about on them is fair game. Okay, I think most people like Teddy more than I like my own dog, and I really like my own dog. But people get really defensive for him. Okay, so let's go through some of these questions on the. Let's pull this up. Here we go. Let's look at these. Okay. Number one. What do you need help on number one for? Number one's textbook. All right. Here we go. Numero uno. Let me zoom in so that you guys can see better. Let's close this. I'll look at those later, I guess. I don't know what that was. Okay. Okay, here we go. Is that easier for you to see? I believe so. Okay. Okay. So every time someone, oh no, get back in there. Zoom in. No. Why is it? Okay, trying to no. I'm like super zoomed in on my screen, but for some reason it's not. Anyways, you guys know the question. I'm sorry. Okay, number one. Every time someone flushes a toilet in the apartment building, the shower becomes very hot and causes the person to jump back. Over time, the person begins to jump back automatically after hearing the flush before the water temperature changes. Guys, classical conditioning, obviously. When you're looking at this, there's the naturally occurring relationship of freaking boiling hot water. And so, boiling hot water is going to make you do what? Jump away, jump back. Oh my gosh, this is so painful. But flushing a toilet has nothing to do with hot water, unless you're in the shower, and then it's like this is my life right here. Someone flushes the toilet in my house, and it's scalding, it's terrifying. And so you do this a couple times, and you realize, okay, anytime the toilet is flushed, um, you're gonna get scalding hot water, so you have to jump back and get out of the way. So that's number one. Um, so definitely classical conditioning. Okay. Number four. You guys want to look at number four? Number four. You eat a new food and then get sick because of the flu. However, you develop a dislike for the food. Eating is one of the strongest examples um, of like classical and operant conditioning. Like taste aversion is a thing. So this is operant conditioning or classical conditioning. This is kind of a crappy. I don't like this question. Probably need to get rid of it. And basically, um, you are the relationship is the bad food and you getting sick. And then what ends up happening is the smell of the food is your neutral stimulus. Um, And so, smelling it is the neutral stimulus. Smelling food should not make you sick, but because you got sick from eating this food, the smell of it now makes you really really sick. And so this is a concept known as taste aversion. Basically, because we as humans like to stay alive, we are very prone to taste aversion. Like if we eat something that makes us sick, it takes a long time for us to be like, it's okay to eat this again. And that's just kind of like a biological evolutionary thing that keeps us alive. So definitely operant conditioning here. Okay. I gotta go through this quickly. Number 11 and number 3. Number 11, your hands are cold, so you put on your gloves in the future. This is operant conditioning. You can either say this is um, you can say that this is reinforcement or punishment, or not reinforced. Your hands are cold, so you put on gloves. In the future, you are more likely to put gloves on when it's cold. This is reinforcement. You could say it's positive or negative. It doesn't really matter. You could say it's positive reinforcement because you are putting something on and it makes you feel good, or you are taking something away. You're taking away the cold. So you could say it's negative reinforcement. I mean, it's six of one, half dozen or another. They both work. So, okay. Sorry, I am trying to get through this quickly because I need to cover the other stuff. Number 3. Your car has a red flashing light. Oh, this is a tricky one. So this is operant conditioning, and so what's happening is like that flashing light. So the behavior that they want you to continue is putting on the seatbelt, buckling your seatbelt. And so the way that they are rewarding you or not rewarding, but trying to get you to continue that behavior is having that really annoying flashing blinking sound, like my car. My car does this as well. It beeps at me annoyingly until I put my seatbelt on, and that's negative reinforcement because it's taking away something that I do not like in order to get me to do a certain behavior. Okay, there we go. Is clinical depression a type of learned helplessness? Um, could be. Yeah, I mean, sure. Okay. Daniel, I'm gonna need to move forward. I don't have time to do more of those questions from there. Oh, neutral stimulus is the flushing of the toilet. So That's a good call, Janelle. Maybe I'll need to bring Teddy in more often then. Okay, Hannah. Yes, Hannah, I'm doing that over this weekend. I'm sorry, I've been a little busy, so I do have plans to do it this weekend though. So I got you. I got you, Hannah. Oh, hey, number four is what did I say? It's like it's classical. It's classical. Yeah. Sometimes I just stumble over my words. It's okay, Akash. We got it. No, I don't have time. Wait, yeah. Oh, is our 11 different? Oh, yeah. All the time, Ion. Have you ever been to a small town? Ion's asking if learned helplessness in humans. Have you ever been to a small town? What's the small town story? I'll never get out of here. The kids see other people never getting out of the town and not, having any opportunities, and so they learn that they're never going to be any good, and they can never leave. It happens to you guys all the time with classes, like, oh, I'm never going to be good at science or English or something, and then you get a couple bad grades, and then from then on it's just like, I'm the worst at this class, I'll never do well, and you just don't try as hard. So what did I say about number three? Yeah, operant conditioning, positive or negative reinforcement. Yep. Yep. Okay, thank you, Janelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I've tackled all the questions. So what I'm going to do is I need to go over um, the stuff. Um, I need to go over observational learning and insight learning. Okay, so observational learning, Albert Bandura, social learning theory. So basically, as you can see here, we learn through modeling behavior of others. We learn by watching what other people do. Duh, like this is something that's super basic. We know, like we've seen this before, like that's fine. But Bandura really kind of put a spin on it and got us really thinking about the world a little bit differently. And the way he really put on this is back in the day, um, watching television, especially violent television, was considered to be cathartic. It was considered that when you watch someone beat the crap out of somebody else, it would make you feel better, and it would drain that intensity and that rage or whatever from you. And basically, Bandura's studies showed that that was not the case. That uh, violence in television didn't make people feel better, or watching other people be violent didn't like calm people down. It just desensitized them to that violence. Um, and so Albert Bandura's big experiment was the Bobo doll experiment. So what he did is he got some kids and he put them in a room and he made them watch adults beat up this Bobo doll. And you can see in the little picture over there, the Bobo doll is this little inflatable clown doll that you can kind of knock around. It's got sand at the bottom, and it's light, and you can knock it around. So the kids watched the adults do that, and then they went into this other room, and the scientists and this had all these really cool toys, and they were super excited. And then once they kind of got settled in, a scientist would come in and be like, "Oh, sorry, these like toys are for the good kids, so you can't have them." So they would take them into this other room with the Bobo doll in it. And so these kids are like super pissed off because they were having a good time. And then now they've got to play with this stupid Bobo doll. And so oftentimes they would just take their aggression out on the Bobo doll, and they would do basically the exact same thing that the adults were doing in the video. They would almost mimic them from everything that they did. So this was kind of eye opening for the parenting community and stuff like that, because like, oh my gosh, like this is like a big thing. Like we cannot, you know, like kids are watching, and so so yeah. So make sure you know Albert Bandura, make sure you know the Bobo doll experiment, and recognize that we learn based on watching other people. Shocker. Okay, so next we have insight learning. So you've got this. I've got this huge like description of all this stuff that's going on. But guys, insight learning, look at that little light bulb. That's all it is. It's just a light bulb. Insight learning occurs when one suddenly realizes how to solve a problem. Bam, that's it. It's just that you're sitting down at a test, you're looking at this problem, and then pop, it comes into your head. It's not like trial and error. It's not like um, it just appears in your mind. You just get it. That's insight learning. That's literally it. And so this was studied by a psychologist named Wolfgang Kohler, and basically he got a bunch of chimpanzees. He put them in a room, and there was a bananas hanging on a string, and there's some boxes and some things around, and basically the uh, little monkeys would run around and just like run around and be annoyed, and but they wanted the bananas, so they couldn't figure it out. And then what would happen is suddenly, as they were watching, a monkey would like stop, his eyes would open like a little bit wider, and then they would run over and grab a box and like solve the problem. And it wasn't like this trial and error type thing. It was just like boom, suddenly one of them got it, and it was just like, okay, this is what we need to do. So there we go. All right, we did it. We did it. We covered everything. Woo! Um, do we have time to go over reinforcement and punishment again, or should I come? I yeah, unless I don't really. So we can do it really quick. Okay, I'll do it quick. So reinforcement and punishment. Reinforcement, you're trying to get the person to do the behavior. You're trying to the behavior to continue. Okay, you can do this one of two ways: positive or negative reinforcement. So positive reinforcement, you give them something that they like. So if you help me move, I will buy you pizza. That sounds awesome. Or if you help me move, I'll cover your shift next weekend at work. Um, so you're reinforcing a behavior. You're reinforcing this person helping you by doing one of two things. One, which is positive, you're giving them something that they like, or it's negative, where you are taking away something that they do not like, which is going to work. Maybe they're just like, oh, I don't want to work today, and you're just like, I'll take that off your hands if you help me move. So that's positive and negative reinforcement. Positive, negative punishment. Remember, punishment, we want a behavior to stop. So we are, once again, positive is adding something on, but we want them to stop, so it's going to be something negative. So spanking, or as one of the examples earlier was yelling, that is adding something that people do not want, so that will hopefully make them stop. Negative punishment is taking away something nice. There's something that they like, and we pull it away, and they don't, and then they don't want to do the thing anymore. So you get bad grades in school. I'm sorry, this is the best I can come up with. Uh, you don't do well in school. So your parents are like, well, you obviously don't need to have a bunch of freedom, so I'm going to take away your car keys and your phone, and you can that way you don't get any more bad grades. Bam, did it. 3 minutes. It was like basically half a lecture in 3 minutes. All right, cool. It is a test day, so if you guys have any more questions, I will answer them. But otherwise, we covered everything. Any last questions before I duck out? Yeah, eat my. I've had 2 slices of pizza sitting next to me this entire time. Soon, I will be able to eat them. Mahir, it seems like we have different number 12s, or did I not do 12? Wait, is 12 John Watson conducting the experiment on baby Albert? Post the question. You're gonna have to do it in bits because you can only do 200 words. It's not that I hate pineapple. I love pineapple. I just don't like pineapple on pizza. What is Mahir? Tell me what 12 is. Oh, let me look. Oh, when a professor first starts teaching about a concept, she'll. Oh, that's just positive punishment. Do you enjoy getting yelled at? You answer the people are answering wrong answers. It's a behavior that the professor does not want. They don't want you to answer incorrectly. And so she is adding a positive punishment to you by shouting at you. No one likes getting shouted at. It's not the best example, but that's what it is. So deal with it. Okay, I'm glad you figured it out, Anne. Okay, did that answer your question? I'm sorry that you got yelled at, Daniel. That sounds pretty terrible. Or that people got yelled at. No, Akash, I still have some people who haven't taken the quiz, so I can't say anything about it. So, yeah, Baby Albert's classical conditioning. All right. So, Teddy. All right. I just called Teddy over. Why is a teacher? Because no one wants to get yelled at. Come here. Come on. Because no one wants to get yelled at. It feels bad. And so you're adding on something that no one likes. And that is if you come on, come on, come on. People want to see you. That's why everyone gets on the stream. And if you, thank you. If you are yelling at someone, they're less likely to answer wrong because they know if they get something wrong, they will they'll get yelled at. So, yep. All right. The unconditioned stimulus for baby Albert is the loud noise. Yep, it's the loud banging noise. That's why he's crying. So, no, Alyssa, remember, positive is adding something on. Negative is taking something away. Go back and look at those original notes. That's really big. Thank you. Yes, Daniel, that is correct. It's taking something away. So, all right, we good? You guys got to see Teddy for a second time. I'm ready to go. Go to bed. It's going to be great. Okay, guys, thank you very much for getting on the stream tonight. Oh, we're down to 1 dislike. So, yes, parents taking away your phone would be negative because you like your phone. Your phone is awesome. So, them taking away would be negative. Okay. Hey guys, really appreciate you guys hopping on the stream. And that is my time. Guys, make sure you go to bed in the next hour or so. You need plenty of rest for your test tomorrow. You're welcome, Shane. You're welcome. So y'all have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. You guys will do great. Hasta la pasta.